Good morning, everyone. This is live number one, and it is a continued discussion from a short video I uploaded in the queue last night. So, this is part two of Commenter's Choice. Is Seth Rogers still in love with Katie Proudfoot? 1 second, everyone. Just 1 second. I need to do something right quick. Hope you all are well. Usually I don't go live early, but I fell asleep a little bit early, so I decided, well, I'm up a couple of hours. I'm going to go ahead and knock this out the ballpark. We're also going to go to my community page where I ask questions pertaining to content related, in this case, of these parents, and also commentary from the chat. Had to do a correction. Thank you so much for joining me. Good morning, dear. Thank you. Once again, this is a part two live continuation from a 5-minute video I did earlier. Everyone has different commentary opinions pertaining to what has transpired in the past 3 months between the parents. So what I've decided to do is compile questions according to the relationships between the Proudfoots and Seth Rogers. I based this commentary of this live from a question someone asked Seth pertaining to the dates of his marriage dissolution and the date that the child went missing, which is allegedly February 26th of this year. He could not remember the date that he divorced Katie Proudfoot, but some people or someone went digging and said it was the 26th of February 2016, 17, or whatever, when he divorced her. Don't know the actual date he divorced his ex-wife, nor do I know the actual date that the child went missing. I'm banking this live on his response. He basically said that she has caused him pain, Katie Proudfoot, on both of those dates, if indeed they are accurate. The date of losing his child and the date of him no longer being married. So this is why I came up with this question. Is he still in love with her? Then you also have to ask the question, what is love? Because what's love to one person is not love to someone else. Is he possibly just lonely? Was he obsessed? Someone asked that question. I did not put that in the title, of course. But what is his actual feelings for her? Because my understanding is that she loves him. She does not like him. So one would have to ask the question, when did she decide in her head that she did not like Mr. Rogers? Respect Mr. Rogers. Does she respect him? Probably not at this point. But then he could say the same. I don't have respect for you. You talked ill about my son here on YouTube, tit for tat. Is he still in love with this woman? Does he still have feelings for her? What are his emotions at this moment? That's the angle I wanted to have with Mr. Seth Rogers if he had decided to speak with me. I was not going to touch solely on his son, but how he's feeling at this moment with the investigation, the case itself, his dealings with the Proudfoot, his image in the public. Does he feel like he's contributed to the negativity to his image? Has he done or said anything to offend someone but didn't mean harm or did mean harm? And where does he see this situation going, this investigation? That's the angle I was going to take with Seth Rogers. We will now go to my community page, and I will read off the questions and give you the results. Mind you, I just put up the poll, so there probably are not a lot of people who have voted. Did Katie Proudfoot abort a child while dating and or married to Chris? 42% yes, 8% no, 50% not sure. Commenter's choice. Some of you feel Seth Rogers shouldn't be dating or making passes at women. So when is it an appropriate time to do so? Now, 0%. 6 months, 7%. 1 year, 7%. Doesn't matter, 87%. So out of 15 votes, most of you feel like it doesn't matter if and when he decided to date anyone. Commenter's choice. Again, is it wrong for Seth Rogers to try to date a woman while son is missing? Yes, 17%. No, 17%. Not sure, 0%. Nobody's business, 46%. Don't care, 21%. Is Seth Rogers hurt or feels betrayed by dirty YouTuber and new girlfriend? Yes, 74%. No, 4%. Not sure, 22%. Did Seth Rogers have a brief relationship with Michaela? Yes, 58%. No, 18%. Not sure, 25%. One comment, none of anybody's business or busness. Obviously, this person can't spell. Oh, mercy. Was Seth Rogers inappropriate with Jules, the canine handler, and PI Chloe? Yes, for both, 57%. No for both, 3%. Only the PI, 0%. Only Jules, 0%. Not sure of either, 40%. So it's a close, little closeness to most of you believing that he was inappropriate with both women, and then 40% said you're not sure. Are the YouTubers who interviewed Seth Rogers genuinely concerned about him and his son Sebastian? Yes, 22%. No, 78%. Do you think Seth Rogers wants paid interviews? Yes, 63%. No, 19%. Not sure, 19%. Some commenters believe Seth Rogers enjoys the spotlight here on YouTube. Do you agree? Yes, 71%. No, 18%. Not sure, 11%. Is there more than one person involved or has knowledge to the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers? 87% said yes, 0 for no, 13% are not sure. Does Chris Proudfoot regret marrying Katie? 48% yes, 27% no, 24% not sure. Does Katie Proudfoot regret marrying Chris? 41% yes, 44% no, 16% not sure. So it's almost neck to neck that you all believe they regret marrying each other. Is Seth Rogers envious, jealous of Katie's marriage to Chris? Wow. 71% of you said yes. 13% of you said no. 16% of you are not sure out of 31 votes. Did Katie Proudfoot want kids with Chris? 17% yes. 63% no. 20% not sure. Does Katie Proudfoot regret being married to Seth and having a son by him? 28 votes. 89% yes. 0% no. 11% not sure. Does Katie loathe Seth Rogers? Yes, 89%. No, 3%. Not sure, 8%. If true, were Katie Proudfoot's alleged abortions, either before or after conceiving Seth, indicators of her not wanting children, nor wanting to raise her son, Sebastian? 50% yes, 5% no, 45% of you are not sure. Does Seth have regrets about not removing Sebastian from the Proudfoot's home sooner, hence his motives for lashing out on social media. Yes, 71%. No, 14%. Not sure, 14%. So 71% of you believe he's been lashing out because he has regrets about not removing his son from the Proudfoot's home. Is Seth Rogers still in love with Katie Proudfoot? 62% yes, 21% no, 18% not sure. I believe I might have asked that question at the top again, but it's okay because people change their opinions, so it's no big deal. Thank you for joining me. Hello, everybody in the chat. 40 people viewing. I think he's lonely. Okay. I have always thought Katie used Seth to get out of her bad situation at her mother's home. Hello, Val. So what are you saying? Naturally, she's never probably going to tell what actually happened in her house. Many people aren't going to go public about, what happened at their house because this is the disappearance of her son. And she's not very vocal about much pertaining to the child. Her husband, Mr. Chris, as he was told to be called by the child, he has done all the talking. I think it's interesting that he calls her mom when he's describing their relationships. And mom said, and mom did. It's very interesting. Instead of saying Katie did this, Katie did that, Katie said this, he calls her mom. Very interesting terminology. Very interesting. Good morning, Black. How are you? Good morning, everybody. This is an early morning live. This is a part 2 continuation of a shorter video I did last night. I decided to go live since I was already up and engage in this conversation and read you polls. I base my polls on your commentary from the chat and my own assertions and or hypotheses and opinions and questions. And that's that. And that is that. Hello, Kate. How are you? So for the few people that are in here at the moment, chatting and or listening to this content, I'm going to go ahead and take a brief poll in here. Let me see. Hold on one second, everybody. We're going to ask the question again. If you all believe that he's in love with Katie, hold on one second. Thank you for joining me. Where are you, Black? Anyway, I guess I should do not sure because some of you might say you're not even sure. The question is Seth still in love with Katie Proudfoot? Well, obviously somebody was perturbed by all the poll questions. Well, my thing is, turn off your notifications. I have my notifications on, so anytime you all comment, I get a notification. I can either look at them or not look at them. It's always a complaint. It's just every day is something. Melbourne. Oh, wow. Okay. Okay, Kate. So Kate's in the UK, so it's afternoon time. So wait a minute. What time do I have here? 7. So you're 5 hours ahead of me. Good to know. Hello, Laura. Thank you for joining me. So let's ask the question. Is he in love with her still, Katie Proudfoot? I will be taking your votes. Hello, Rector. Is he still in love with her? Please put 1 for yes, 2 for no. See if I can try to keep count. So 1. Hold on, slow down. So 1, 2, 3. Hello, Grant. Thank you for joining us. You want to take the poll, Grant? So far, I have 6 yeses. That Seth is still in love with her. Wow, can you imagine that? Mercy. She's the mother of his son. There's always love there. I think he still loves her, but maybe not in love as much. Trust it to be awkward. Yeah, because I could have put that in the poll as well. Love, in love, I don't know. Maybe I should put love as well. Regger, so you're 7. Okay. Thank you, Grant. So far, I have 7 votes that he still cares. Sometimes, you have to be careful how you word it. Cares, love, in love. Woo, mercy. So imagine that he cares for her, love her, which is however, and Christopher thinks this as well. All things serious, you're 8. Okay, thank you. Imagine Christopher Proudfoot sensing this or has a notion that this man still cares for his wife. Just imagine how awkward that would be. Has this ever been brought up in a conversation between the 3? Don't know. Has anyone said that to him? His mother? Somebody else? Kate, I guess you're 9. Hey, I believe you're still in love with your ex-wife. If someone said that too, Seth, what was his response? Very interesting. Seth, are you still in love or you love Katie Proudfoot? Do you wish you could get back with her? I got a feeling he probably still mourns her. Because that's the thing about people. You can mourn a person. Laura says jealous. Okay, let me put that poll on this side of. Hold on 1 second. Let's ask that as well. Let's see. It'll be 1 yes and 2 no. Hold on, honey. 3 not sure. So far, I have 1 for jealous. Thank you, Laura. I'm not entirely sure the animosity from Chris towards Seth isn't based on the fact CP knows Seth will always have feelings for Katie. Well, we don't know. That's the whole point. So you said yes, he's jealous of them, Regina? So that's 2. Do you know why they got divorced? I guess they weren't getting along, Grant. She had brought forward allegations against him for abuse against she and her son. I don't really know what happened. All you can do is just say, I don't know. Which one are you yesing for? Hold on, everybody, slow down. Random, what are you yesing for? Still in love or jealous? Which one? And Debbie, same thing. Or is it for both? Is it yes for jealous, yes for still in love? Random thought, is the yes for jealous or is it for him being in love with her or both? Well, they're not responding. So, Regger, jealous for sure. Well, I guess that's 2, 3, I guess. Hurt since being drove his way. He still has feelings for random. Yes, okay. So that's 10 for yes. Random interview. He's okay. I got that. All right. Interesting. Well, imagine how terrible that must be. I'm sure many people have been infatuated, obsessed, in love, which is however, still love a person and they're not together. They want them back, even though you know it's not working. So I thought about that earlier. He may still have feelings for her, but deep down inside, he knows it could never be. That even if they were to get back together, they would still have problems. And that's the one thing some of us can't reconcile in dealing with people. You can care for them, but then you also have to weigh, well, what do I care about exactly? Because if the negatives weigh higher, then what am I in love with? What do I love about the person? Because they'll tell you that. Weigh the pros and the cons. And yes, when you marry a human being, it's supposed to be for better or for worse. But you have to also ask yourself, what's the worst? Because the worst could most definitely outweigh the good. And as they say, it's what you're willing to tolerate. Good morning, sweet tea. Thank you for joining. Some people will carry on with the worst. You know, a liar, a cheater, manipulator, a frauder, an adulterer, a thief, a abuser, committing petty crimes. They still stay with the person, support the person. Although they know this isn't a lifestyle they want with the person, this isn't what they envision themselves having, but somehow they're hooked, hook, line, and sinker. They feel captive. Maybe it's just the sex. We also understand creatures have sex, and they may equate sex with love. That's how many people get bamboozled. Oh, the sex is great, but that's not love. Just like when animals mate, they don't talk. They mate and get on about their business. So why would you assume it would be different with a human being? And that is the worst thing. Get yourself caught up sexually with someone. Woo! Sex is so great. You're damn near losing your mind. And you may think, oh, I'm in love. I love him. But indeed, it's just physical. That's what you have to tell yourself. When the person gets up after you've had relations with him or her, what is the relationship like then? That is your proof. If it's just sex, they put on their clothes, they leave, then you already know it's nothing. If they're engaging with you while in the bed with you, or they wake up, you talk, you kiss, you hug, you snuggle, you eat breakfast together or lunch, whatever, they speak to you, they talk nice to you, they call you, they answer your phone calls, then it may be something. Heavy light, which is however, I can't speak for everybody. But definitely if it's nothing, after sex, I think you know the answer. Val, what are you saying to? No to. No to what, honey? Not in love or jealous? Yes, familiarity breeds contempt. Of course it does. That's how you get hooked up and stuff. That's how you become hoodwinked and bamboozled by people. Relationships, courtships, work, it's all the same. It's what you're willing to tolerate. You see it every day. You hear the most horrific stories of betrayal. I love him, but. I love her, but. Val, what is your number 2? You're saying no to what, sweetheart? Jealousy or love? He doesn't love her. Which one? Some folks will put up with anything to keep their bed warm. Yes, I think many people have made that mistake. That's the point. We're all human. Sometimes the conversation's good. Sometimes the attitude's good. Then other times it's not. Sometimes they're abusive. Sometimes they're friendly. That's why I said it all comes down to what you're willing to tolerate with another person. Who knows what their relationship was really like when they were younger and in California, if she actually really cared for him or she just ran with the flow, something to do. I think Katie was wanting a way out. Once I heard that she left and went into the military with a small child, I felt like that was her way out. She didn't have the guts to say she's not happy. I'm not happy with you. I'm not happy with having a kid. I don't want a kid, and I don't want you either. Because to me, most people go into the military, they go in right after high school. You rarely hear of people going into the military at like 25, 28. They go right after school, or maybe they go maybe a few years after college or right after college. You rarely hear of anybody going into the military late in life, because I do believe they have a criteria, an age criteria, which I understand that. Want to sustain virility in doing basic, when they go to camp, basic training, excuse me. Val says, yes, I think he mourned her. Yes, he may mourn her. Because when he made that comment about the dates, when somebody was asking him about the dates, kind of petty to ask, when did you get divorced versus when the child went missing? But then someone might say, well, maybe there's a significance between his divorce date and when the child went missing. Well, see, the problem with this is that we don't really know when the child went missing. We just have her version. And to me, that's not good enough. I need proof of when the child went missing to try to compare it to when she and Seth divorced. Some significance, closure. But then one could say, what if indeed it is the same date? So she decided to close the book on life. That would be very deep. She closed the book on life, on her marriage on February 26th, allegedly, and closed the book of life on a child by the same man. Damn. That's deep. Lord have mercy. Please take the polls on my community page at your convenience. Weigh in. Tell me what you think. One second, everybody. Yeah, that's real deep. What is she hiding behind Chris? What is she hiding? What is she hiding? Elaborate. Thank you for joining this early morning live. A little more peaceful in the morning. Once you go live in the afternoon and evening, it's ruckus. I like this morning live a little bit better. Slow motion. Considering her current behavior, past behavior, I think Katie's always looking for a way out. I also think she sees Chris as her escape route. Well, that's the thing. Perhaps getting with Seth was an escape route at a young age, 19, 18, whatever. To me, it's too young to marry someone. We're not in the dark ages anymore. We're not in biblical times. It's not the 1600s when that was expected of a female to go off and marry a man. I mean, you had children marrying at the age of 14. There's no way even a 14-year-old in the 1600s or 1000, whatever, BC, whatever, should be with a man raising children. Still a child. You have a child's mind. I don't even believe in marriage in your 20s, quite frankly. Just the way people behave and act. I can't even take a marriage serious at 22 years of age. That's just my opinion. People are still trying to find themselves, learn themselves. Today your hair is black, tomorrow your hair is red. Nails on, nails off. You understand what I'm saying? You change your mind. It's still like being a child. You know? Today is bananas, tomorrow it's pineapples. You see that a lot with young people. On and off, hot, cold, hot, cold. Don't have the repertoire for marriage. People who are older don't have it. They think they want it. But that's the whole point of life, is it not? You think you care for someone. You think you're in love, and then you get in and you realize, don't like this, don't feel good. Same thing with motherhood, fatherhood. You may have wanted children, but things happen when you have children. You can become depressed, down, postpartum depression, and may honestly want to rear your child. You may have not wanted the baby when you found out you was pregnant, but then when the baby came, you were happy. But then your body tells you otherwise. That's the whole point. Why? You can't judge people. You're not in their shoes. Everybody's situation is different. But I feel like this lady possibly ran and got into this relationship with Seth too early, got in, realized she did not like it, wanted a way out. Military, perfect. But then one can say, flip side, why not just be truthful? Hey, thank you for everything you've done, but I'm not happy. I don't want to be married. I don't want a kid. And what I find interesting, if it's true that she had abortions rather before the child came or after, why not use birth control? Birth control is free. So I was thinking about that last night. This doesn't make any sense. Why would you want someone to keep going inside of your body using tools to scrape out a child? Excuse my language, but that is what they do when they extract the fetus. And it's not a pretty sight. Because let me tell you, a few years ago, I was talking about abortion on my channel, and I was doing some research, and baby, when I tell you what I saw in some photographs of what is left over from an abortion, you really realize, oh my goodness, especially when they're, fully developing or damn near ready for birth. There are women who will go that far into eliminating a pregnancy. The baby's almost ready to come out. And then you see what's left over. So I brought that content a few years ago to my network of a clinic in DC that had all these remains left from abortions. I was like, what are you doing with all that? Oh my God, I thought I was going to pass out. It gave me a new perspective. As I said, I believe a person should have a choice, but then the flip side, someone will say, well, it's still a living person. But then some people won't think of it as a living person. The first 2 weeks of pregnancy, you feel like, well, it doesn't have feelings at, 2 weeks old, 4 weeks old. You're entitled to your interpretation. But seeing the child almost a full term, that's scary. It's a scary visual. I'll put it in like that. A lot of people don't raise their children to be grown. Seems like nowadays people protect children from the truth instead of giving them the tools. Yeah, well, that's the point. A lot of people don't have tools to give. They know right from wrong. I think most people know right from wrong by the time they become 18, 19. You know, I believe that. But the point is, you live your life according to how you were raised or what you see, what you decide to emulate. Everybody's different. And some people have not been given tools to navigate properly. That's why a lot of people have problems as young adults. That's why they get wrapped up in drama, chaos, get in trouble with the law, because they're mimicking other people. They're following in behind other people. And as I said, I just don't believe young people should have children. I don't think young people should be married. I think you should be able to live your life, work, go to school, get a trade, whatever it is you want to do. But I don't think you should have kids. And I don't think a lot of people who are older, who decide to have children at 30, 35, they're not ready either, as you've seen with all these horrible cases of child abuse, child neglect. As I told you in the last slide, there is a video in the YouTube queue of a young boy in a hospital bed. They have his face covered. His mother severely abused him, her and her boyfriend. They have now alleged that she was on drugs. I don't care. There are a lot of people who use drugs and they have not severely abused their child the way she did that boy. He was what, 16, 17 years of age? He looked, there are no words to describe what I saw in that hospital bed. I mean, he has lesions, cuts everywhere. And they said his face was deplorable. The sister now has the little girl, but then I started thinking about that. How is it that you didn't know that she was abusing her teenage son? Where were you? I asked all the questions because that's bizarre to me. You didn't know your sister, number one, was an addict. Number two, you didn't know she was abusing her son. So you telling me you never had a relationship, you never visited her, but now you have custody of her little girl. Just saying. Strange, very strange story. Hello, Portia. How you doing, sweetheart? Maybe an alcohol problem was the reason of unprotected sex in Katie's case. Oh, Deborah. Come on, Deborah. Most people who are married are not going to use protection, especially a condom. Let's say a condom. The woman might take the pill or IUD, which is whatever, the shot. But the man, he's going to say, why should I be wearing a condom with my wife? The wife will feel the same. Why should my husband have to wear a condom? We're together. It's monogamous. We don't need to wear protection. And I agree. Why should two people who are married have to wear protection? But if you know you don't want a baby, then yes, ma'am. You should take the pill. You should take something. Whatever is befitting for you and your health, you should take it. That's what I find strange. But see, I don't know really when she had the abortion, so I can't really say. But I guess really it doesn't matter. Before, after, birth control had been around before she gave birth, before she conceived. So you're talking about what, 2008, 7, whatever. Katie should have known how to get birth control. You don't want to get pregnant? It's your option. Now, some people that learn about birth control. So next thing you know, they're having sex. Boom, boom, boom. Now you're pregnant. But children are more savvy. Teenagers, they know, hey, I go to the health department, give me some free condoms and birth control. So I am curious to why she wasn't taking anything and having sexual relations with this Seth Rogers. And maybe when she had the child, she realized it wasn't for her. Good morning, dear. This isn't for me. I'm not bonding with the kid. I don't like this. I don't want to get up. I believe that was mentioned. Commentary, I heard him saying something about the baby. I'll stand corrected if that's not true. He said he was getting up. I could have sworn I heard that the other day. Child crying or needing feeding. He's getting up. She's not getting up. Well, she's still a child herself. Think about it. You're expecting a child to raise a child. Makes no sense. We categorize 18, 19 as an adult. It's an adult only for certain things, such as voting. You have the right to vote. That's nothing. Just going in a booth, checking the boxes for Republican, Democrat, Independent. It's not the same as raising a kid. Oh, drive a car at 16 years of age. Here's your license. Still not the same. Raising a kid. Hell, some people don't even need to be driving a car. Let's be truthful. They're irresponsible. They're disoriented. They don't pay attention to the road. They're trying to talk, comb their hair, eat a sandwich. We've all been guilty of doing it. Fumbling with the radio. That's why we have dead people in the cemetery, because somebody didn't pay attention behind the wheel. Somebody fell asleep. Somebody was under the influence of drugs, medication, or happenstance. They had a heart attack, had a stroke. That's the point. The government gives us an age criteria for certain things. Oh, you can buy cigarettes at this age. You can vote at this age. You can get a license at this age. But it does not mean that you, per se, are equipped to operate a car. Okay? That's that. Hello, Kathy. Just because a person is physically mature doesn't mean they are mentally mature. Our youth nowadays are not raised to be adults. They are raised to be taxpayers. A third fail at that task. Well, that's my point, is that when you come out into the world, you're going to 9 times out of 10 mimic what you see. You gravitate towards what you see, what you hear, and also how you were treated as a child. All those things are part of how you navigate. And that's just that. The thing that stuck out to me when he said that, though, made me wonder if he understood what being a partner and having a baby together meant. He seemed to put faults on her while explaining himself. Well, that's what people do, Ingrid. Most people are never going to say, well, I didn't do my part. I should have done better. And I also believe, as I have said in the polls, when I asked those questions in the polls, I think that he has regrets about not saving his son, removing his son from the Proudfoots, his mother not coming forward to tell him what the child told him. I think Seth saw a lot, perhaps. He just won't admit it publicly. And that's why I've told you he doesn't have to. Because you may want all these little nuggets from the Proudfoot, Seth, but they don't have to tell you anything. They don't have to tell you their innermost secrets and their thoughts pertaining to each other or the child. Right now, it's just fluff up here on the wire. I'll tell you what I think you should know. I'm not going to tell you how I really feel. He may not even own that he was a contributing factor to the downfall of his marriage. Because once again, he's older than her, number one. Number two, she was young when he allegedly met her. Don't know if he had sex with her. Some believe he did. So you factor in that. That's a crime. Who knew about it? Who aided it? See? Too many irons in the fire. So it wasn't going to last anyway. Now, we have heard of these type of scenarios happening, of men bedding children, and then later they conceive children, stay in a relationship, and it goes on and on and on for years. But at some point, this union, at whatever age he started having sexual relationships with Katie Proudfoot, it did not last. I wouldn't have taken Sebastian back until I knew what. Yes, Laura, exactly. I did see that in the pictures, and yes, 17 years old is most horrific. Yeah, too young. Way too young. Way too young. Way too young. And I think she probably realized, this life she had gotten into with Seth, it wasn't for her. But as I said, a young person don't need to be wrapped up with someone. A lot of people, especially parents, they don't want their children, in serious relationships when they are 18, 19, hell, even 20 something, because they know their children. You know your children, if they are mentally equipped for anything, a job, school, work, a trade. You know your children. You know if he's not going to follow through. He's not going to finish that program. She's not going to work. You know your children. It's not saying they can't change, but you raise your child to be 18, you should know a little bit about their disposition. Does anyone think that Sebastian went to SR's mother with things of Seth's parenting, and that's why she didn't come forth? The accusations towards CP came out, and he was a convenient distraction. I don't know. But, because what's interesting is when all that came out, Tony and Seth were basically saying that one of them was saying that maybe some of that information wasn't factual or truthful, something like that. That maybe I don't know. So I don't want to try to reword what they said, but what most people are going to say is this. If the child didn't tell you that, then why would you say that? Then why repeat it? Because then that means you're lying. So I think what they're trying to say is maybe she got excited in the moment of all the things that were going on, and she said that, but really didn't mean it. Well, one's going to say really didn't mean it still means you're lying. So is that true? Sebastian told her he was being abused at the house. We're never going to know because the child isn't here to tell us what he said to either parent, what he complained about. I also would like to know what's in the CPS reports, because maybe the CPS reports can give us a little more light on who's telling the truth and who did what, and the findings from the state. But then the findings from the state can be jaded because we've seen this time and time again, people complain about abuse, and then the state workers either don't follow through or come out to the house and they make an assertion according to what they've seen. But if that's not really the truth, because a clean house, nice furniture, that doesn't mean a person's not being abused.
I completely agree with that. Good morning, Queen.
Good morning, dear.
I have something interesting. If it's okay, I'd like to ask you real quick and get your opinion of it. Why do you think it is we only know about Seth Rogers from Katie, like from that moment in his life? He was a grown man before that. We don't know anything about Seth before Katie came into his life.
Well, somebody has to tell you something. Who's going to tell you?
Exactly. But we only know Seth Rogers from that point in his life, and we don't know he was a grown man. He was a grown man by then. We
Okay,
don't know.
but the point is,
Right.
so long as he doesn't have a criminal background, the basic stuff that you can Google and search through websites, you have to have somebody to say, this is what I know about him. This is how I interacted with him. This is what and even when somebody comes out, somebody still will argue that's their perception, just like what they're telling you about Sebastian, what he's telling you about Katie as a young person, uh, the allegations she brought against him in California, his reactions to this and that about car parks and parking spaces, all type of nonsense. That's his perception. That's his version. She has a version. He has a version. Christopher has a version, and then there's the truth.
Yes, I completely agree with that. But I wonder why we know that Seth's mother comes into the chats and stuff. I've seen her. I believe her name's Robin. Is correct, right, Robin? No, no, no. What's Seth's mother's name?
Robin.
Yeah, it
B2B
is.
says, in my opinion, Seth is saying anything to get Katie's attention. I think he is trying to bait her into saying something he can hold against her in the public eye. Well, I think that's been done already, Bean. They did that on their own before he even started talking. When they decided to come to YouTube and speak ill of Sebastian, they told me everything I needed to know. I don't have to go on channels to hear what they have to say. That's just who I am. I navigate different than most people. See, some people like what I call the bait and switch. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They keep going for more. I don't need more. Not when it comes to children. Now, how I navigate with another grown-up, myself, that's different. But once I see you have no respect for the child, I don't need to hear anything else from you. That's just me. I don't need 50,000 interviews on YouTube.
Me either. Me either.
Once I see that you have lied, you have changed your version about events, which the truth never changes. Then you come to YouTube and you speak ill about the child. You continuously hop, channel to channel. I don't need anything else. I don't need to sit through a 3-hour live. I don't need to listen to what they have to say. That's your choice that you want to listen to the live streams. And I've told people this. Don't harass me and tell me, well, you're not keeping up. Keeping up with what exactly? What is it that I'm supposed to be keeping up with? Nothing. Keeping up with nothing. That's my interpretation.
I just don't feel like either side has anything else to offer at this time. Like, what more is
Yeah,
someone
but
gonna
guess
get
what? But
if they
people still
introduce
want
them?
more. But people still want more. They still want these people to continuously talk on panels. Why? I don't know. Don't they get it? You're not getting to the root of anything. You're just getting like little breadcrumbs. But what you have to understand with the breadcrumbs should be a whole loaf of bread. But you're not going to get a whole loaf of bread because you don't even know who the hell you're talking to. You don't know who the hell you're listening to. Because that's what people don't understand. Talk is cheap. I can't just say anything. You've seen it up here. People who just say anything. They say anything on the panel. They say anything in the chat. They say anything as a creator. It doesn't mean it's true.
Exactly.
It's just talk.
Yes, it's just talk. What do you think about? Do you think that at the point after they come on, especially after the interviews they started doing on YouTube, I'm going to say the first 3 interviews, after the way they talked about Sebastian, and then little ways their stories changed, do you think that anyone out here is still really thinking that they're going to have that aha moment and get something fresh? Do you think that's maybe what they're hoping for? Or do
Well,
you
we
think
already know that's what they're hoping for. That's why people keep saying let them talk. Some people, I'm saying some people.
right? Oh, that's crazy.
Because that's some people's perception. Well, if they keep talking, they'll tell on themselves. Well, they have told on themselves. They just haven't said that they've unalived the child. That's all.
That's exactly what I was fixing to say. If people just pay attention to what they said in the very beginning, you start at the first interview and you go to the ones where they show their true colors. They've already showed you all of their hand. They've already showed you who they are, what they believe in,
Mm.
and there's nothing else that they can tell you. Really, at this point, there's nothing else anyone in this situation, the parent or law enforcement, can come out and tell you is anything other than we suspect this person and this is why. Or
And he's very vulnerable now, so he needs to be very careful of people around him. Yes, he probably is very lonely. He probably doesn't date a lot, probably didn't have a girlfriend before all the shenanigans broke out pertaining to his son and all this hee-hawing around up here on the wire. I don't know how active he was in the community and going places and traveling. See, I don't know because I don't know him. But I know this would have to be a trying time for him, but your image is everything. And that's what people don't seem to understand. When you decide to come out to the news about whatever it is, missing person, a crime, eyewitness, everything you do and say is going to be scrutinized. And I don't think these people understand that. Okay? People don't understand that.
Also, Queen,
Your
do you
image is
find it?
everything.
Yes, image is everything. Exactly. Do you find it absolutely insane for anybody to suggest any other person is an angel or incapable of something? Because what I've noticed a lot, especially on YouTube with the Sebastian Rogers case, is people want to pick a side and then they want to talk bad about the other side. That's all they want to pick out are the flaws of one side.
But this is what you don't understand. I just said,
Yeah. Yes.
your image that you portray, that's on you. That has nothing to do with Queen. That has nothing to
Yep.
do with nobody. Who you
Ex-
portray yourself to the public is what we get. Now, naturally, the perception could be wrong, misconstrued. But if I see you falling out, acting out, cussing and fussing, mad all the time, then I'm just going to assume, oh, well, that's just an angry person. You understand? But there's probably
right.
reasons you're doing that. But I don't have to care. And I don't have to investigate to see why you're falling out, fussing and cussing, because that's not my job. So what you portray, that's on you. That's you. That's not a us issue. Okay, that's not a community issue. That's a you issue. I mean, you've heard this lots of times. People say, oh, don't mind him, don't mind her. That's just how he is. That's how she is. You got to get to know them. Okay, that goes back to what I just said. I don't have to get to know them. You may know them. You may be used to the arrogance, the attitude, the snippiness. That's on you. But if their first impression, they portray themselves as snippy, snipey, they get agitated easily, then people will form their opinion. That's just the way, that's just human nature. It's nature of the beast. That's just the way it is. Is it an overall portrayal of who the person is? Possibly not. Probably not. But do I have to invest in finding out about the
No.
person? No, I don't. And that's the point. We are spectators in this thing, this bubble of the Proudfoots and Seth. They are in the bubble. We are looking into the bubble. Once again, the bubble could be empty, the bubble could be half full. It's all about perception. So when you come out to the universe and you start putting things into the universe, you can't get angry at what you put out because nobody told you to come out. Nobody told you to speak. Nobody told you to say the things that you said. That is on you. So if you want to be angry with someone, you need to be angry with yourself. If you've watched enough true crime as a human being, and now you are in that position, you should know what you should and should not say to court TV, to a YouTuber, to the news. I'm going to keep this little bit of a nugget to myself because I know that once I open my mouth, I can never take it back. And now they're going to ask 50,000 questions, and then I got to worry about what she's going to say, he's going to say, and there may be actually truth to what the person has said. But once you put it out there, you can't take it back. And that's what these people don't understand, the Proudfoots and Seth. You can't take back what you've put out. If you're not going to apologize, doesn't mean anything. And then you can still apologize, say, well, this is my truth. I'm sorry this has offended you, but it's out there still.
For all the world to see, nonetheless.
Well, I mean, that's just that.
Do you find it only adds to the circus for people to take things that are completely unrelated.
Is this an interview? Are you interviewing the queen?
No, I'm asking. I'm sorry.
I feel like I'm
I've
being
actually,
interviewed.
I'm sorry,
Oh my
Queen. I'm
goodness.
sorry, sister. I didn't mean it like that. Let me rephrase it. So, let me ask you a question.
You've been asking
Um,
me questions since you got up here.
I,
You're asking me, putting me on the
I'm
spot.
picking your brain. I'm sorry, sister. I'm sorry.
All right.
I like hearing the way you think, and I respect your
Okay.
opinion. Is the reason I ask you
Okay.
questions.
Thank you. Go
You're
ahead.
welcome. Um, do you think that sitting there and saying stuff like, "Oh, neither one of these families are angels," and "Look at what Seth did over here that has nothing to do with Sebastian," or "Look what the Proudfoots did over here that
Yeah.
have nothing to do with Sebastian." Do you
It has
think that
everything to do with him. It has everything to do with him. I keep saying it. It's like I'm repeating myself. What you are putting out to the universe is obviously what you feel. If you're not taking it back, I'm gonna say it again. If you're not taking it back, you're not apologizing. You're not saying, "Oh, I made a mistake. That's not really what I meant when I said that." Then I'm gonna just put my stamp that that is what you meant. You understand what I'm saying? You've seen people say things and then they started getting flack for it. Then they'll come back and say, "Well, this is what I meant," or "You misconstrued what I said. Let me
right?
explain further." Still, somebody may say, "I don't believe you." That's their opinion.
That's completely correct. That is completely correct. And really, a lot of us don't recognize the fact that their opinion of you, honestly, just like their opinion of us, is really none of our business. But
And it's
people,
not. And that's the truth. What is going on with these people behind closed doors isn't my business. Who likes
exactly,
whom, who still has feelings from whom, it's not my business. But the one thing I will say that you've made our business is how you've talked about your child.
that part,
You made that our business.
that part.
So you can't get mad that people are critiquing the way you talked in an interview, the way you spoke in an interview, the way you rocked and swayed. That's on you. That's not me.
Exactly. You
That's
put
you.
yourself out there.
You put
Right.
yourself out there. So if you felt like you could not give yourself the way you thought you should to the media or whatever, then you should have declined the interview and you should have declined anybody that wanted to speak to you about your son.
I completely agree.
It's
I
a
completely
choice. It's a
agree.
choice to speak to the news and YouTube. It's not mandated in the book of life because there is really no book of life to go out and talk to a YouTuber or to Good Morning America. That's your choice. They reach out to you. You either say yes or you say no.
If you don't want yourself exposed and put in the spotlight, don't put yourself there. It's
Yeah,
that simple.
yeah.
It really
That's
is.
all. That's all it is. So
Yep.
that's what I don't understand. And as I said, I see a lot in my mind with Seth. He may have some personal issues. The reason why he and his ex-wife, are not together, that maybe what's coming out. But I think it's a combination. I think he's bitter about everything, whatever that everything is. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't just
I
sit up here
would
and
be
say,
too.
I think it's this, and this. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. And this is why Seth has been lashing out.
Yes, I completely agree. I
Yeah.
completely agree. I think it's a combination of things, and I think that Sebastian going missing only added to the Woodstock. You know what I'm
Oh, it
saying?
made it
It
worse.
only
That
added.
listen,
Yes,
that was the actual, as Melissa would say, icing on the cake.
the
When
straw that
Sebastian
broke
went,
the camel's back. Yep,
yeah, that that
yep.
that just opened the earth up. So whatever was down under the earth hiding, it's now slowly seeping out. So all the little dirt, secrets, crumbs, they're just slowly oozing out. It's just a matter of do you believe them or not?
I do tend to believe Seth more than the Proudfoots because whenever
Okay.
he speaks about Sebastian, you can tell he has
Well, let
love
me
for
ask
his
you this.
son.
Do you believe he's when you say that, do you believe he has been more genuine in his conversations about the child?
Yes.
Okay. Because some people, a lot of people are weighing, teeter-tottering that, he's doing a lot of stuff for attention. He's talking too much. He's rude. He's this. Then I told myself, well, is it possible that he is actually a Christopher Proudfoot? The image that some of you all have portrayed Christopher as dominant. He's the head knocker. He's the one that's ruling over everybody. He's the one orchestrating everything in the household. Could it be that Seth Rogers is Christopher Proudfoot?
I actually have an interesting theory on that, Queen.
Okay, well, and let me finish this. The old saying is that you run back or you run to what you just left, such as you move to a new place hoping for better things, a better place, better. But sometimes it's not better because it's like what I said, the belly of the beast. Your perception is one thing, but what's around you is another. So you run to a new place, you run to a new job, you run to a new city. But as someone once told me, you're going to have problems at the next place too. Kind of an insult, but you're going to have the same problems. Well, I might have the same problems if, one, I'm the same person and I'm taking the same ideologies with me and the same damn ways with me. Possibly. But the thing is, you don't have control over people. So you can go into a new situation praying that things are going to be better. You're praying for, a better outcome. And sometimes it just happenstance. It's the same BS you just left. You just left. So you run to New York thinking it's better, or you run to Nebraska thinking it's better, and you get to Nebraska and it's a repeat of what the hell you just left.
Because people don't realize what they're doing is they're taking the same baggage, and they are the common denominator in all of them.
You are. And then sometimes it's not even that you are necessarily the problem. Let's just say you are somebody that you want more in life, but you can't afford more, okay? So you have to live, let's say, in a certain demographic. And it's not to say that when you live in a certain demographic that everybody's the same. But if you live one place where the people act like a bunch of hoodlums and a bunch of hillbillies, okay, then you go over here to this place and you're hoping for better, but it's the same type of economic background, let's say. You're still just going into the same old mess. You understand?
I do completely.
Yeah, you can have a good attitude. You can say, well, I ain't going to say nothing. I ain't going to complain. But you don't have no control of the environment. And that's what you see in places such as living in the urban neighborhoods, living in like low-income housing. Hell, it could be the same as upper crust, upper middle class. You move into a nice neighborhood. Let's say you was low income. And let's say you hit the lottery. Okay, now you go buy this fancy house. It's not to say that you ain't going to have a damn hillbilly neighbor that's going to cause you problems, or a ghetto fabulous neighbor. See where I'm going?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
And you're right. You're completely right. I think all of us that expect better things to come out of a new situation, whenever really nothing has changed except the scenery, let ourselves down a lot.
Yeah. Sour Girl says, yep, I think Katie upgraded, so she thought at least Chris works. Yeah, I got a feeling that Chris and Seth are evenly yoked, because it may be they are similar creatures. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes. Well, you would automatically have to rationalize that they would be similar creatures because they both saw something in Katie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think Katie and Chris are devoid of emotion. When you listen to Nina's conversation about her relationship, he didn't seem to show any remorse. The fact that you'd have to call someone to say, can you come to the hospital? Hey, I just had a baby. I carried a baby 9 months. Hey, you want to come to the hospital? That told me everything I needed to know. See, there's certain things a person can tell me. I don't have to keep listening to what they're saying. He's devoid of emotion. He doesn't have any empathy. He's a sociopath. And I think that Katie is possibly the same. That's why they're attracted to each other.
Can I ask
Think
you
about
something
it.
about...
Listen, hold on.
Right.
She's devoid of raising a child. She was devoid of being in this marriage with Seth. Run away, go to the army, the Navy, come back, still ain't happy, still ain't satisfied. Basically was having an affair with Chris. I don't know if that's true or not. So you checked out, you checked out. Then you check out with the same person you have an affair with. That's bad business. You should already know that's a recipe for disaster. Exactly. Now you're carrying the baggage that you really don't want. Pay attention now. You're carrying the baggage that's a reminder of the person you cannot stand. Many of you have probably dealt with this. Parents don't like you because they don't like your fucking father or mother. So they beat you down, breach you, mistreat you because of what wasn't right with that father, mother. So imagine carrying the child along all the way across the United States, down here to Tennessee, not wanting the child, but I don't want people to know I don't want the child. So I carry him along and pretend to be his mother anyway. Now I'm with this thing who is just like me. He's devoid of emotion, a sociopath. He doesn't care for his child. You don't see the similarities? My goodness.
How could you not?
Well, there's people, but listen, but there's people who won't see it because they, to me, are like the Proudfoots. They are like Katie. So this is why you have people who rally behind them. They can't see what's sitting right in front of them. Those two are alike. That's why they were attracted to each other. She's been trying to check out. He goes from woman to woman. He uses people. He's a manipulator. He's a grand narcissist. He has a grandiose personality. I do believe that about Christopher Proudfoot. Now we have two sociopaths together, carrying a baby, an autistic child at that. And now, years later, he has disappeared. Now, some will question, oh, I can't understand why somebody would hurt a 15-year-old. What's the difference between 15 and 5? That's your assertion. That has nothing to do with their mindset of, I want to be free. Lori Vallow did it. So why are you confused over here in Middle Tennessee of why a 15-year-old could have been unalive by his mother and stepfather or whomever? That's to me an idiot's perception. You're talking for yourself. People are murdered every day. Just shared content on my channel of a woman stabbed in a parking lot in Ohio with her 3-year-old. Her 3-year-old is dead. They don't even believe the woman who stabbed her knows her. See where I'm going? So what's the technology behind walking over here, get a knife, bought or stolen, walk over here to this store, follow somebody out of a store, they're walking out, you're coming in, and then you double back, follow them out, and stab her and her baby in a parking lot. Now she has a dead 3-year-old. What is the mythology behind that? There isn't.
None. That's, yeah,
she did,
exactly.
She did it. She did it because she could. There need to be no rhyme or reason. You need a reason. The perpetrator didn't need a reason. So it's the same with the person who has checked out of child rearing or checked out of their marriage. I no longer need him or her. I don't want them around. So I want them gone. And I'm going to do what I need to do to get rid of them by all means necessary. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree. Yes, I'm going to kill this person tonight. I'm going to put poison in their drink. I'm going to put a little bit of, antifreeze in their tea. I'm going to slowly poison my husband, my wife. I'm going to make my child sick so people can feel sorry for me and get attention. Well, common sense should tell you, you keep putting salt in a child's food, baby bottle, well, your child's going to sick and possibly die. But you know what you're doing?
Yep. You're well aware of it.
Very aware.
Very aware. I would just like to highlight something, pointed out to you real quick, how right you are. And you just hit a nail on the head for me, even that I think I had kind of overlooked. But whenever you said these people defending these
Kimberly.
people are just like them, let me tell you how right you are about, because I agree with you. Chris and Katie are fully both narcissists, fully at the very least, possibly even sociopaths. And that's my opinion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor or anything like that,
Well,
but
we're
I've
not
dealt
doctors,
with them before.
but you live by example and you learn people. And if you, let me tell you something, who is the best person that can judge a narcissist or a sociopath? Somebody who's been around one, or they are one. Take your pick.
Exactly. Exactly. Yesterday, but I want to tell you how right you are. I want to point something out to you. What you said about these people defending the Proudfoots, a lot of them are just like them. Yesterday, one of these people that has been talking about the Proudfoots like they're angels and defending them said on their own YouTube stream that they could sit in the bathroom and look in themselves in a mirror all day. So I just want to applaud you for hitting that nail on the head.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Well, for those coming into this live stream, thank you so much. Good morning. This is a continued conversation from an earlier video I made last night. I made a 5-minute video on this topic. Is Seth still in love with Katie Proudfoot? Commenter's choice. I'm just gonna say this, just from being a human being myself. It's a terrible feeling to care for somebody that does not care for you. They can act like they care sometimes. You understand what I'm saying? But they're not giving you enough oxygen to sustain. And you're beating yourself up every day saying, why am I not good enough for this person? I'm doing all these nice things for this person. I try to talk nice to this person. I go out my way for this person. What's wrong with me? Well, there's nothing wrong with you. It's that person. They are not at that point in life to where they can be monogamous and or commit to you or give you what you need. And you have to accept that. It's a hard thing to accept. It's a hard thing to accept when things are not working in your favor. But I think a lot of times you know why it's not working in your favor, because it just ain't right and you just won't accept it. And that's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. Because I think we all have done it with people in general, not just relationships, but your family members. You keep going back in, expecting a better result. But you already know we don't get along. We don't see eye to eye. It can't work. Because I think a lot of times we do. We just tolerate people. We really don't even probably have respect for them. And that's deep as hell. Hello?
I have a suspicion. Something I wanted to throw at you about Seth and this whole situation.
Yeah.
Suppose Seth does still have feelings for Katie, right?
Okay.
Suppose he is jealous of Chris to a degree.
Yeah, I mentioned the jealousy. I
And
mentioned both jealousy and both jealousy and
right,
feelings.
right. What if there are also jealous feelings on Chris Proudfoot's side because
He knows.
he didn't want Seth in the picture. He didn't want Sebastian in the picture because he didn't want anybody but Katie in the picture. And not only that, but having Seth in the picture or Sebastian,
Yeah. Well, but he chose that
there is
though. He
always a
chose that.
threat.
But he
Right.
chose. See, this is the thing about life.
Yes,
You choose that.
I agree.
He's already shown you he's not a good role model for children. He was already beating up on a baby that wasn't even his. That's why I said about Nina. Nina chose that bullshit. She talked, very nice in the interview. No disrespect to Nina, but hey, I'm a human who's made mistakes. You have to own your part. Because let me tell you, if you don't own your part, you will be right back there again. And just like when she was talking on that live stream that she had a boyfriend, and the boyfriend, I didn't know if he lived there or not. First thing I thought to myself, I sure hope you've cleaned up your attitude and your disposition, because if you have not reconciled with the relationship with Christopher and what you did, you will be right back there again.
Right. But that common denominator in the situation is Katie. And if Seth does have feelings towards Katie all this time, and there is that connection with Sebastian, do you
Hey,
think
Miriam.
some part of Seth might be mirroring Chris because that is what Katie wants?
I don't understand.
Do you think it's possible that Seth is trying to for lack of better words, in some ways be like Chris because that's what Katie wants.
But she doesn't
And
want him. So she doesn't want him. So what good would that
right,
do?
no, right, exactly, exactly.
She
What
doesn't
good
want.
would it
She
do
doesn't
her?
want. From my understanding, she loathes him. So she does not want Seth.
Right, but I'm saying, do you think it's possible that Seth would mirror some of Chris
You mean in
Proudfoot's
hopes? In
behaviors?
hopes.
Yes, yes, that's exactly what I mean. Yes, in hopes that Katie.
So she's looking at him like, oh, he's never asserted himself like this before. Oh, that's a side of him I wanted him to be.
Right,
Okay.
exactly, exactly. Do you think that's
Well,
possible?
I think that no, probably not. The ship has sailed. Seth can't give her what she
Well,
has right now. Katie has a cushy life. Let's be truthful. That neighborhood is a very nice neighborhood. I watched some guy upload content to YouTube a few weeks ago, and he went, riding through the neighborhoods. It's a very nice neighborhood. It is not your typical neighborhood of just even a brick rancher. It's a nice neighborhood. It is a place where the average person would probably want to live. She doesn't want to give that up. That's probably the best she has ever had since she has been breathing. And it doesn't matter if Christopher is an ass, narcissist, sociopath, psychopath, adulterer, fool, clown. She ain't parting with that.
I agree with you
She's
there.
not.
I
She's not.
absolutely agree with you there. She
She's
is
not. She's
more
not going to part with that.
materialistically
Because
inclined
a
than
lot of
she is
people do that. That's
emotionally,
why I keep saying
from what I
you
can see.
run from one thing to the other and you run right into what you just left. So if these two men are the same, she didn't leave anything by leaving Seth. What she got was just a guy with a better income. He allegedly got parents that got
Upgraded,
money. But that's it. Because in the end,
upgraded her
that ain't
surroundings.
shit.
That's it.
But that ain't shit if you're not happy. So let's ask that question. Is she happy? I should put a poll up on that. Is she happy? Because the nice house and able to go in the bank account and get what you want, go shopping, take trips. Yeah, that's nice. But in the end, it's got to be more than that. Because I was thinking about that the other day watching some crazy movie, when they had this fancy house and this girl and guy, I shared that movie a week ago. Her and the guy, they were working for a catering company. They were servers, and then they crashed the house. They squatted in the house after the guy and the girlfriend left the house. So I just role played. I said, okay, let me imagine living in this big old fancy this concrete mansion with all these amenities. Would I be happy there? But in exchange, I don't have, let's say, family, friends. I don't have a husband. I don't have, you know what I'm saying? Just myself in this big fancy house. How happy would I be? Because
You wouldn't.
I think a lot of
You'd
people
still
live
be.
like that. They have children or they're single, which is whoever. They have a nice life. There's money in the bank. There's savings. They have a nice car. She has a nice Infinity truck. You got all these nice things, but are you happy? Because
You're
some
only
people
happy
say,
when you're
I'm
happy
happy.
with yourself.
I'm happy. I'm happy because I got all this stuff. Some people say that, oh, girl, I want that stuff. I want the nice car. I want the nice house. But what people don't realize is there is a what do I call bartering? You should know
Let's.
something's going to come along with having a fancy house and a nice car. It ain't going to just be roses.
I gotta run. My husband has a business call right now. We
Okay,
share an
go ahead.
office.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you for having me.
All right, you welcome, honey.
Girl, you have a blessed day.
You too, honey. Bye
I'll
bye.
be tuning in. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye. All right, everybody. Unleash says you can't love anyone until you love yourself. Okay. Katie is completely detached from. That's why Katie is hiding behind Chris, because she has all the things she wanted but could not get. Yes, there's a thin line between love and hate. Yeah. Hello, Tracy. Yeah. You know, as I said, everybody's different. Some people can be content, having a husband or wife, a relationship, living in a house that's nice and amenities, and they know they're not getting what they want from that person. They can say, well, this is my exchange. They don't show me attention. They're not faithful. They don't engage with me, or they talk down to me. But I like having the nice house, the car, the money, able to take trips, this and that. But in the end, you're still selling your soul to the devil, because you can't bet on that. That's going to always be there. The nice house, the nice car. So it's up to you how you want to navigate. But you hear the stories all the time from people who have wonderful, amenities, have a nice home, nice car, but they're not happy. Even if they're single, they're still not happy. You see this all the time with famous people. They're always unaliving themselves, overdosing, getting drunk, drinking and driving. And the first thing you're saying to yourself is, what's wrong with you? You have everything. You have what most people want. What the hell is wrong with you? Because they're not happy. Because you're thinking to yourself, oh, if I had that, I'd be happy. If I had that nice 6,000 square foot house, 2-car garage, Maybach in the drive, big boy SUV, I'd be happy. Green lawn, manicured, money in the bank, savings, I'd be happy. But you should know there's a price in having all of that. And you hear a lot of famous people tell you, with the wealth comes problems. Always somebody trying to get your money. Always somebody trying to scheme and scam. Always somebody begging. Always somebody mad because you won't give them any money. Always somebody mad because you stopped giving them money. It happens all the time. Hi, honey. Look at my husband. AB, can you talk? He's not the panel guy. He's not the panel guy. I mean, I think we all do that. I think we all have been in a place, especially when you were younger, you imagined yourself being this great being. Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And then you start looking at your life and you start saying to yourself, damn, I'm trying to understand what went wrong. How did I get in this situation? And that's the thing people don't understand. Life, it can be hard, especially if you don't have any help. I say this all the time to young people. People have children. Raising children is hard. And you go out here and you get yourself pregnant and you don't have help, or the baby daddy's not helping. He's denied the child. Family's denying the baby. You don't have great parents to help you. They're numb. That's a hell of a burden to be in the world along with the kid. It's a terrible place. And that's why I always question women who keep having children and they know they don't have any help. So the first thing I'm saying to myself, okay, well, you already had it hard with one kid. Why are you having more kids? Why? Why have more? Why not wait till you're in a better situation? Life is strange. I don't know if AB's busy or not. That's what I was asking him, if he's busy. I think we're on the same time. Same time zone. But that's the question for the 179 in the room. Is Seth Rogers still in love with Katie Proudfoot? I have a lot of questions on my channel. Polls. I read the results earlier. And this is from the commenters, plus myself. I was thinking about it a couple days, just from stuff I was hearing, and I thought, well, maybe he still cares for her. Maybe that's why he keeps teeter-tottering. 1 minute he's extending an olive branch, to the next minute, allegedly, he's leaking audio of a phone call of Christopher Proudfoot and one of the PIs. Nobody wants to own it to the public. Whispering accusations. Then the next minute he's talking, well, I don't want to say anything bad. Then you heard this Jules lady saying in a text, he's telling them to back off from the family. So I'm confused myself. Like, well, what is going on? Are you trying to work with these people or not? But I don't think he understands. I think to some point, maybe Seth is delusional. These people don't care about him. Katie and Christopher do not care for him. They are not trying to work with him. They have no intention of working with him. That's my opinion. Where did AB go? I didn't see him. And I think it's time for Seth to realize that. This is why I said I think he needs to stop talking on YouTube. The YouTubers don't care anything about him. I asked that question as well in the polls. I don't think they give a damn about him or Sebastian. It's just something to do to make content. And I think he needs to understand that it's ruthless out here. These YouTubers and people in the chat and that Michaela, they're all the same. They're just like the shit you see out here in the street of people doing crazy stuff to people. They're no different. They're one and the same. So he needs to realize that people are people. He should know that if he works in a correctional facility. People scheme, they scam, they lie, they steal, they manipulate, they hoodwink. That's what people do. It's the nature of the beast. But he probably assumed, well, I'm trying to find my son. I'm assuming these people coming along to help, they're in it for the right reason. Well, they're not. Because as I said, talk is cheap. Anybody can say, hey, I want to help you find your kid. Hey, I want to search. And then they start talking to you. Then you exchange numbers. Then you're going out to lunch and dinner and you're whining and you're crying and you're telling all your problems and you're crying about what this one didn't do and you're crying, you miss your son. And next thing you know, you're in too deep. You're waist high in mud, quicksand. And I believe that's what happened to Seth with Michaela. He was waist deep. He trusted the wrong people. Now, who he is as a person, I don't know. Is he a flirt? Somebody said he's a creep. You know, that's a deep word to call a person. I don't know. I can't call him a creep. I don't know him like that. Some people feel like he shouldn't be trying to date anybody, court anybody. Well, as I said before, he's a man. He's a man before he's anything. He's a man with or without a missing child. Because that's the thing women don't understand about men. That's the reason why men and women don't get along. You can't think like a man. And it's not to say that all men act alike. Of course they don't. All women don't act alike. But men think differently because men are usually raised differently than women. Is he lonely? Possibly. Has he been inappropriate behind the scenes with these women? Possibly. Does he know better? Of course. Will he change? Maybe not. It's up to him. I don't really know what he's done. I just know it don't sound good. Because that's the whole point. Once people start coming out with allegations, oh, they were inappropriate, they were doing this, saying this, you're sitting here thinking to yourself, okay, well, what did he do? That's what I said in the last live. Well, what did he do? I want you to just say what he did. Because people will start running off, and then they'll start passing rumors that aren't even true just because they're assuming you meant something. So that's why it's best to just say it and be done with it. What did he do? What did he say? You know, besides the calling the dogs mutts, what did he do? What is the behavior? Plural. You notice that was off-putting to you. And I can see why that lady, dog handler, would say, nah, I don't want to deal with him. He's talking bad about my dogs. That's not something you should do when you want somebody to help you find your children. You ought to have respect for me. You should have respect for my animals. So I understand that. I understand that. There's nothing to work with. They know where Sebastian is. And who are they? Who are they? They don't want to work with him. They know where Sebastian is. So who are the they that know where he is? Well, if somebody knows where he is, then why don't they go get him? So who are you talking about? The people searching? Well, the people searching couldn't know where he is, so they found him. So you're talking about the people in the story, the Proudfoots and Seth. As I said before, I don't see how anybody would work together to hide your son, all parents, and then throw mud at each other. That'd be the last thing you would do. Is be in conjunction to hiding a child out or the death of a child and then get up here on YouTube and throw mud. That don't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense to me. At least the dog handler is still looking, just doing her own thing. Well, she obviously came here for a reason. to help out. She's working with law enforcement, so obviously law enforcement trusts her professionalism. That's that. I think protected means CP and KP don't want to work. I just said that. I know they don't want to work for him. That's obvious. See, the point of the story is that these two people have checked out from the child. I do believe that's why he's gone. So it's like common sense. That's why I said everybody has their own perception of what has happened with the child. But if you are looking in the glass fully, it's obvious something happened to the child. That's why they don't want to work with him. You genuinely care about your child. He is missing. Whether you care for Seth or not, you still would work with him and call him and answer phone calls, meet up, do interviews together. What did Pat Brown tell you? I find it strange. Seth is the only one who was out here talking by himself, or they were talking without Seth. Exactly. It should be a common thing to meet up. Say, well, hey, I know you work here and I know you can't, you get off at this time. Can you meet us over here, to do the interview? All of them could have made a sound decision to do an interview together. Hell, at least one time. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yeah, if they were in cahoots, they would stay quiet, not bring attention. Exactly, Tracy. I find that strange that anybody in their right mind would believe that. But this is what happens when people refuse to accept what they're seeing from the people in the story. You just want to make up all these wild theories that just don't have no validity, and it's not even common sense. If I'm in cahoots with somebody, I have aided you in a crime. I know about the crime. I helped you with the crime, such as what happened out in Kansas with the social worker and the woman. Those people held that secret together until evidence led authorities to their doorsteps. Other than that, they weren't on YouTube. Hello? They weren't on YouTube. Of course not. I'm not going to go on YouTube and I just murdered two people. I just helped this lady kill her grandkid's mother and a social worker. Oh, yeah, I think I'm going to go to YouTube. Hey, let's all get together and pile in this wagon and go to YouTube. That makes no sense. Hello, Ginger. Well, Debbie, that's usually what happens with a lot of people. They're not happy with themselves. What you see, this great athlete or a movie star or singer, that's not what they see. Maybe they see, something else in the mirror. They don't see what you see in the photographs. Walking on the red carpet. You like that dress. Their hair was pretty. You think they're attractive. You think they're handsome, but that's not what they see. And that's anybody. You hear people say that all the time. You give somebody a compliment. Oh, wow, you're a nice looking young lady. No, I'm not. Oh my gosh, stop. Then they start talking about what's wrong with them. Oh, my nose is too big, or my ears are too big, or, whatever it is. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I think Seth pulling the whole let's work together thing was because he wants info from the last people to see. Yes, and that could be why Seth wanted to work with them, wanted to extend an olive branch. That's one theory I had a month or so ago, that maybe has already known that things were never right at the house. He didn't navigate to get the child out in time. Some will say he turned a blind eye. I don't know, because I don't really know what he did behind the scenes. But some will say, well, he should have never took the child back when the child told him he didn't want to go back. He should have got to the bottom of it. had a call with her. Hey, I need to talk to you before I return my son. I don't like what I'm hearing. And I definitely would have recorded, since everybody likes recording stuff, I definitely would have recorded a conversation with Katie and Chris. I also would have had another witness there, and I would have made sure to tell them what my child said. And then I would have asked the child, without coaxing him, I need you to tell me what you said to me, my mother, and then you let the child tell it, and I'd have it on a recording. That way I'd have verification when I decide to get me a lawyer and or family court and show them the evidence. Because you don't ever want to go back into court with he said and she said, or my mother said, or Pookie said, my child said, because they could feel like, well, you're just making it up. We didn't hear the child say it. And then the child might get scared sitting in a room with people asking him 1,000 questions. You always get it on audio. And that's what he should have done. He should have got it on audio if he didn't. And what I'm curious about also is if there was an open CPS case before the child went missing. Was one open or not? Because getting the version from Christopher Proudfoot, that's not good enough for me. And naturally, CPS are never going to tell you anything unless there's an arrest. And then you get the affidavit, and that's usually when the truth comes out pertaining to allegations and CPS reports. It's a very sad situation. And this case is just like so many we have seen play out on YouTube, people who run to YouTube pretending to care about their children, getting on panels and, getting 5 minutes of attention from other sociopaths. I said that. I cannot rally behind anybody that talks bad about a child. That's it. Like I said, if the Proudfoots have nothing to do with this child's disappearance, then so be it. But I still don't support them only because I don't like their attitudes. I don't care for anybody that talks ill of a child. There's no rhyme or reason for that. And if you think that's entertainment, then that means there's something wrong with you. You're sick. Because as I said, nobody should have to put the shoe on the other foot to empathize with berating a child. You don't want to be berated and you're an adult. So how is it appropriate to do it on a live stream? Come on. I'm just saying, if you're down with that, you are just like them. And that's my opinion. And I believe a lot of people who support them, they are like them. That's why they rally behind them, because they see the same traits. They see the same traits. You can't keep excusing that. You can't keep just using an excuse. You shouldn't accuse them of nothing. You shouldn't accuse them of nothing. No, I'm judging them according to what they're putting out here. If I never thought they didn't hurt their child, I'm still going to address the elephant in the room, which is all this panel hopping, and you're talking around in circles about this kid, and then you're saying really nasty stuff. He's goofy, he dances funny, all this. Who does that? But then I'm supposed to also use that same brain. You didn't hurt that kid. Now, my brain don't work like that. That's your brain. Speak for your brain. My brain don't work like that because I use deduction with people. You come out the gate talking about a missing person, derogatory, my brain is going to tell me you probably did something to that same person. If you didn't do anything, you're still telling me you didn't care for the person when the child was visible. It's all the same. It's just ridiculous. That's right. Checkmate. Well, he shouldn't be talking. He should have never been talking in the beginning anyway about Sebastian. It was best that the mother told the story of what happened that day. And she did a Candace Bly move. She just basically says, oh, well, we were out. But she didn't even tell a story like the way women tell stories. Women are descriptive. Most women are descriptive. They'll say, well, we got up, we ate breakfast, we went to Target, then we went over here to McDonald's, then we went to Ross, Then we went to the park. You don't hear none of that in that 9-minute interview or so with that news reporter. You just say we went out and then we came back and then you spin it from there. That's where I have the problem with that. It's a glaze over. Tell me what you did Sunday. If I don't believe that's the day that goes into the next day that your child went missing. Tell me what you did Sunday. See, the reporter should have said, well, what did you do? Where did you go? See, it's the same MO, just like with the reporter, WJHL with Candace. You don't even tell me that you went out on the 15th. Well, where the hell did you go before you came home to plant flowers? That's how you get to the bottom of the story. Because let me tell you something about a liar. The liar is hoping that you won't ask them detailed information. So they see that you're not poking and prodding, because that would seem disrespectful because your child's missing. But somebody who wants to really get the truth in an interview, in a diplomatic fashion, of course, they'll just say, well, I hope you don't mind, but before you went home with Sebastian, where did you go? What did you do? What do you normally do on Sundays? See, that's how you get them, because they're not expecting that. That's the same thing I would have done with Candace. Well, we were planting flowers. I would have said, well, Candace, what did you do earlier before coming home? See, that's where she would have been stuck. Because as I've told many people who have followed my content, coming up 3 years now pertaining to Summer Wells, the one thing you don't hear in that WJHL interview is that she was hanging around with a 15-year-old boy with her kid. Checkmate. She left that out for a reason. That was the reason for coming to YouTube, her and her husband, to spin the narrative. They are doing the same. The Proudfoots. It is the Summer Wells blueprint. Glaze over what you did the day you took the child out. Don't even discuss what you did. You all don't find that strange? Most people will tell you, well, we went over here. When you are in interrogation, they're not going to let you start with, we came in the house, I sat on the sofa, he took the trash out, he went to bed, I heard a thud. No. The detectives are going to go way back. They'll probably take it back to Friday. Did your child go to school Friday? Yes. Was he in a good mood? What'd you do Friday? What'd you do Friday night? What'd you do Saturday? What'd you do Saturday night? What did you do Sunday? Where'd you go Sunday? Do you normally do that on Sundays? How often do you meet your family, your friends? That's what they're going to ask. Because they want to see how you're going to respond. They want to learn something about you. Are you homebodies? Do you normally go out on the weekend? Where do you take the child? Is the child active? Who's in the child's life? That's how they get to the bottom of how the child ended up missing. Because you got to lay out a blueprint to show who's in the child's life, who had access to the child, to see if it's an outsider that could have something to do with the child's disappearance. So that's why these cases are so similar. Child gone all day with these people, but that is not the story you spin to the news. But yet you come to YouTube and it's like night and day. It's too ironic for me. Too ironic. Just too ironic. Yeah, it's a little late. And as I keep saying to all of you who keep dwelling on this 3-hour phone call, I'm going to say this, and I hope I can say it for the last time. The only versions you have pertaining to the 25th and 26th is coming from Katie Proudfoot. So therefore, if at any point you feel like she has changed her story or added anything to the story, why are you banking on a 3-hour phone call? Why do you keep talking about it? You don't even know what happened in the house. You don't even know that the child returned home. They keep telling you that there's no evidence of a child coming out. So what you have to ask yourself, if you don't have evidence of him coming out, do you have evidence of him going in? Checkmate. So why do you keep discussing she was on the phone with him for 3 hours? I don't understand that. That's just what I told you. Exactly, Atlanta. That's the one thing I don't understand, why people keep dwelling on that. You keep dwelling on a 3-hour phone call, but you don't even have evidence he made it home. It's baffling to me. It's like you all are bypassing the steakhouse. You can't have one without the other. Prove he made it home. Prove he's the one emptying the trash. Prove it. Prove she sat on the phone for 3 hours. Got to prove it. It's not saying she didn't, but I'm just saying you still got to prove it. And how are you going to prove it? The only way you're going to prove it is if they check the phone records and they decide to tell you, which you know they won't, law enforcement. Oh, yes, she sat on the phone with him for 3 hours. But you don't know what they talked about if she was on the phone. And then to me, I don't find it suspicious that she was on the phone if she was, because that's her husband. It's not like she's having an affair with him. She's married to him. He lives away. So why would she not talk to him for 3 hours? If it happened. She may talk to him 3 hours before. And they're going to tally all that when they check the data. Does she normally talk to her husband for 3 hours? If she didn't, then they'll probably wonder, then why on this night did she talk to him for 3 hours? See, you'll never know, because the versions are being spun by Katie Proudfoot. And the fact that she added that thud in there, that was enough for me. I said, I don't believe she's being truthful about whatever happened. I don't think she's being truthful. And she doesn't have to be, because nobody's going to admit they hurt their kid or there was an accident. And then the logical thing is, well, if there was an accident, what kind of human are you not to call 911 to say the child fell, hit his head, we were tussling, he came at me, whatever lie you want to spin, or your truth. A decent person is going to call 911. Same thing I've said with the Candace Bly situation. Why not call 911 if your child fell down the stairs or one of the other kids were roughhousing and hurt her? Just call the police and tell the truth. But then people say, well, she wouldn't call and tell the truth because of the kind of lifestyle she has led with her husband. Fighting, fussing, drugs, drinking. So I can agree with that. I can totally agree with that. Adding to a story is why it's just that, a story. Exactly. She's not begging for her son's return, not searching, leaving to go out of town, etc. Not normal behavior. No, it's not normal. And that's what is why she gets a lot of negativity towards her and Christopher. It's that her demeanor shows that she checked out. And so then my mind would go to, well, that's expected if you possibly have something to do with the disappearance of your child. You are sending a message to the universe. Well, I was checked out when I had him. You can't think I'm going to pretend to care because I said he's missing. That's your interpretation. So let's just say she put in a plan to unalive her child, or her husband, they planned it, or however. Let's say it's orchestrated. I'm not getting ready to sit up and pretend to care. See, every perpetrator behaves differently. You have the one perpetrator who will sit in front of the news and fall out and cry and, oh, my son, oh, I love him, what am I missing? My daughter. Everybody ain't the same. Some people can't perform like that. If this lady concocted this crime, it's a crime, and she's already numb and devoid of emotion, she doesn't have it in her to act and put on theatrics. That's the whole point. Every perpetrator is different. She's just going to give you just enough to sell the story. Yes, my son's missing, blah, 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 but that's it. Now, flip side, they have nothing to do with it. Somebody else did it, or the child wandered off. You're entitled to your opinion. But if they tell you the child didn't come out of the house, you can scratch, prank, lured out, walked out. Let me give you a for instance, and I'm going to check out of here because it just came to me. In the West, the chief of police decided to tell us that they didn't have any evidence of the children coming out. That's because they had already gotten what they needed. And this is why I love mentioning that. Because what we did not know is that there was surveillance of them leaving out on that Sunday and only coming back with what? 2 kids or so? So, or no kids, can't remember. But the point is, somebody's camera faced the house, which told the story of them leaving with so many kids and coming back without so many kids. So the West didn't know that. They probably figured it out down the road, looking, at the house and stuff. But they didn't know that. So all that time, week 2, 3, everybody's busting their heads trying to figure out where the kids. Police already knew and had an idea of what happened. Number one, the surveillance from the neighbor's house told the story of who left out and who came back, number one. Number two, they talked to the children. So they had a forensic interviewer interview the children, and the children told the story of moving to the house with only 1 kid. So how can you have a child say, we've only been here with the 1 kid? So then how could 2 be missing if only 1 had been at the house with the children, the other children? One of the brothers never made it to the house, allegedly. So they knew then that they were lying, but we didn't know that. So it took a whole year before we got the truth that one of the children never made it to Cal City. So I want to tell you, I got a feeling that's exactly what is happening here with Sebastian. And I'm surprised nobody has caught this, okay? If in that case, they told you nobody came in the yard, nobody went out of the yard, they were telling you then it was foul play. They just didn't say it. Because I remember one interview with the chief when the reporter was asking him questions and he paused. I knew then, I said, oh, he knows exactly what happened to these kids. It was written all over his face. He could not tell you the truth, that the children had already told them that one of the children didn't make it. Those kids told it. They heard a thud one night and never saw the child again. So that's the child that allegedly they took with them. We heard a thud, something like, fell, whatever, and we never saw that child again. So they didn't bring one child with them. That child was probably unalive in Bakersfield back at the apartment, Castalomas. Then you take the other brother with you, and then you unalive him for whatever reason. It's the most baffling story I've heard to date. I don't know if somebody had questioned them about the children or somebody had said something. I don't know if they had to have doctor's appointments. They needed to produce both children. I don't really know how it went. Once again, they've denied unaliving both boys. They were only charged with the murder of one kid, which makes no sense because common sense would tell you they were a package deal. You got them together through foster care. You adopted them together, and then you only charging them with one murder. So then where's the other kid? Where is he out surfing? So I think of that in this Sebastian Rogers case. Kind of makes a little sense now. When they gave you that statement, no proof of CCTV footage, they're telling you something right there. Because that's exactly what was said with the Cow City boys. We don't have proof of them coming out. We don't have proof of anybody coming in the gate. We don't have proof of anybody driving by. We don't have any proof of anybody sitting outside. So if they're telling you the child didn't make it out, they're already telling you what you need to know. They just ain't saying it. They're not saying it. Hey, Shannon. Can I tell what's also really bothered me between Summers and Sebastian? Both families had friends or family member that was a funeral home director. Kathy Bauer Sock's first cousin owns a funeral home. Well, I don't, Elena, my mind don't go that far out with all that type of stuff. People having funeral homes and, burying kids and all that kind of stuff. I kind of just stick to the basics. Funeral home directors or not. People are unalived every day. Children are unalived. FBI stats, 450 children are murdered each year by their parent or guardian. That's facts. That's not fiction. That's not a myth. So my thing is, if 450 children are murdered each year in the United States of America, why would this case be any different? If the stats on the FBI say damn near 500 children are killed each year, then that means they have proof that they were murdered by their parents. So what is the difference between a little girl in Rogersville versus a 15-year-old in Hendersonville? What's the difference? There is no difference. We'll just have to wait to see what law enforcement has, or if they have anything. Thank you, Miss Lee. Val says, in my opinion, he never made it back to that house. They gave us that information, basically. Yeah, I didn't think he made it back either. Although, they're saying, there's a figure going to the trash can, and that was his job, to empty the trash. But my thing is, if you can't definitively say that camera can say visually that is the child, the build is of the child, then I'm just not going to bank on that until somebody can come out and say, well, we've looked at the camera and it does look like him. I just, with this new information of nothing outside, no scent of nothing going anywhere through the yard, through somebody else's yard, no dog picking up the scent of him like walking through the back of the yard or the front of a yard. It's just makes me wonder, well, did he even make it home? Now, one could say if he made it home, he had to been able to get out of there by a person. So that means he was either moved by rug, bag, tote. So that means the scent will still have to go through the house and possibly through the garage, because to me that would be the logical way to take out a body, would be through the garage and into a vehicle. So then you got to ask that question, did any scent dogs lead them into the garage and then it stopped? But then you got to ask yourself, would she risk, or whomever risk, coming out of there at a time when they're supposed to be allegedly sleeping? But if they're assuming it's dark outside, hell yeah, they're risk coming out in the wee hours to dump a body and then come back. So see, I don't know what Ellie has, so I can't say. Because as I said before, it could be dark outside, but your car still has to have lights on. So it doesn't matter if it's dark outside. You still got to open a garage, back out, pull out, shut the garage, come out. What you gonna do? Drive out the driveway with no lights on, as not to be detected? You still can see a car moving in the dark. Reflections from your house beaming off the top of an SUV, even if you didn't turn the lights on, as not to draw attention to drive out of the driveway. The thing about life is you're always seen by somebody. And that's what people don't understand when it comes to disposing of human beings. Somebody has seen you. They may not have paid attention at that time, but maybe when law enforcement comes by to talk to them, their memory gets jogged and they think of something, because that has happened in a lot of cases. Yes, of course they want the footage, naturally. Oh, you're welcome, Tina. Thank you for joining me. Good morning, Purple and Gold. How are you? But yes, that's the question of this live stream. Is Seth still in love with Katie? Please take the polls on my page, and I'm going to look at that one poll, and then I'm going to let you all go about your merry morning. Because I have a lot of questions on there. Feel free to take the polls at your convenience. Let's see, you got a lot of questions. I'll try to find it. Is Seth Rogers envious, jealous of Katie's marriage to Chris? 68% yes, 13% no, 19% not sure. Did Katie want children with Chris? 13% yes, 54% no, 33% not sure. Did Katie Proudfoot regret being married to Seth and having a son by him? 86% yes, 2% no, 12% not sure. Does Katie loathe Seth Rogers? 81% yes, 7% no, 12% not sure. Does Seth have regrets about not removing Seth from the Proudfoot suitor? Hence his motives for lashing out on social media. 68% yes, 13% no, 19% not sure. Is Seth Rogers still in love with Katie Proudfoot? 65% says yes, 18% no, and 18% not sure. Wow. Wow. 65% of you said yes. Take the polls, everybody. Make your voice count. There are a lot of questions on the poll. On the network. Seth is obsessed with her, his son, so I don't blame her for hiding him from abuse. How was she hiding him from abuse and he came down here? He came down here and she let him see the son. She wasn't hiding him. If she was hiding him, he wouldn't have known where she was. I'm going to go ahead and read you the other questions since there are more people in the live stream right now. Thank you for joining me. There was nothing to insinuate any guilt in anything. They're just questions. You all make a big deal out of everything. It's always a complaint. The questions are just that. I'm tired of explaining myself. This is my network. I built this. I ask questions according to comments in the chat, things I've learned in investigation, and comments from the parents, and things I have on my own mind. There's no connotation to anything. That's your perception. A question is just that, a question, whether it be a poll or a question in a video. You don't follow this network, you don't know how I navigate. And I don't need permission to put up a title for a video. I don't need your permission to ask questions in the poll. You either take the poll or you don't. It's not that serious. Did Katie Proudfoot abort a child while dating or married to Chris? 24% yes, 11% no, 65% not sure. Commenter's choice. This is where I give you a question according to someone's comment in the chat. Some of you feel Seth Rogers shouldn't be dating or making passes at women. So when is it an appropriate time to do so? 7% says now. Now, earlier when I started this live, it was 0%. So some of you have changed your mind. 4% at 6 months, 11% 1 year, 78% of you do not care. Once again, another commenter's choice. Hold on. Let's see. It's similar to the last question. Is it wrong for Mr. Rogers to try to date a woman while his son is missing? 20% says yes, 13% no, 4% not sure, 47% said it's nobody's business, don't care, 16%. Is Seth Rogers hurt or feels betrayed by the dirty YouTuber and the new girlfriend? Yes, 73%. No, 5%. Not sure, 22%. Did Seth Rogers have a brief relationship with Michaela? 55% says yes, 17% no, 28% not sure. Hold on one second. Okay, everybody. Had to remove a rat. I'm having some rat problems lately. Nothing like a good old extermination, you know? Did Seth Rogers have a brief relationship with Michaela? Once again, 55% of you said yes. Was Seth Rogers inappropriate with Jules, the K9 handler, and PI Chloe? Yes for both, 51%. No for both, 4%. Only PI, 2%. Only Jules, 2%. Not sure of either, 42%. Are the YouTubers who interviewed Seth Rogers genuinely concerned about him and his son Sebastian? 23% says yes, 77% of you said no. Do you think Seth Rogers wants paid interviews? 64% yes, 15% no, 20% not sure. Some commenters believe Seth Rogers enjoys the spotlight here on YouTube. Do you agree? 70% yes, 15% no, 50% involved or has knowledge to the disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. 85% yes, 7% no, 8% not sure. Does Chris Proudfoot regret marrying Katie? 44% yes, 24% no, 32% not sure. Does Katie Proudfoot regret marrying Chris? 34% yes, 48% no, 18% not sure. And is Seth Rogers envious, once again, jealous of Katie's marriage to Chris? 69% of you said yes, 13% no, 18% not sure. Did Katie Proudfoot want kids with Chris? 13% yes, 55% no, 32% not sure. Those were my questions. And the other ones are pertaining to her alleged that she had abortions. If it is true, either before or after conceiving Seth, were these abortions indicators of her not wanting children nor wanting to raise her son, Sebastian? 48% yes, 13% no, 40% not sure. And I also asked you, I'll ask it again, does Seth have regrets about not removing the child from the Proudfoot sooner? Hence his motives for lashing out on social media. So what you're seeing play out of him getting upset, telling people to F off, is this just him lashing out because he knows he didn't do what he needed to do to save his son or do more. 71% of you do believe he has regrets for not getting his child sooner out of that house. 11% says no, 18% not sure. Those are my questions pertaining to the latest events that have transpired on YouTube. Thank you for joining me. The questions are on my community page. I also have recommendations for movie of the week. I'm going to bring you that conversation. I also have shared some other breaking news. Just some disturbing cases that I found. It's just horrible. The Riverbank is my movie of the week. It is also free on YouTube. Feel free to hit the tap the screen. It's by Movie Central. The Riverbank is my movie suggestion for the week. I also have content on my network pertaining to a skull found in the St. John's Bayou in New Orleans. It had a padlock and key attached to the skull. The teeth were missing, upper teeth and jaw were missing, along with guns were found in this water by fishermen. That is some content I brought yesterday. Also, murder-suicide investigation underway here in Knoxville, Tennessee, of a man who called 911 stating he was going to set the house on fire, the condo, and when the fire department and police arrived, he was unalive. She was unalive, the wife. I also learned they just got married May 19th, excuse me, last month. How long have they been living in that apartment? Did they just move there? Had they been dating a long time? Where did they come from? Very baffling story. And also somebody else was in that apartment. Who is that somebody? Do not know. I've also brought you information pertaining to a Fort Lauderdale employee stealing luggage, stealing items from the luggage, and then they later go to the house, the reporters, and see nothing but luggages thrown about on the property. The reporter has an altercation with the man's mother. You've got to watch it. It's wild. It's caught live on camera. She starts pulling on him and pretending that he's attacking her. It's a very baffling story. Nonetheless, the woman found her iPad. She had a tracking device and tracked her iPad. And that's how the reporters found the address and found other people's stolen luggage outside on the property. And a kindergarten teacher has been unalived by her husband. She was 26 years of age and had a 5-week-old baby that her parents now have adopted. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $Beganji129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Have a wonderful day. God bless all of you. And thank you for tuning into this network. And I will be back with more stimulating contents and breaking news. I will possibly bring you some more content later in the afternoon or evening. So you all have a wonderful day. Please be safe. You have been listening to the Vault XL. Thank you.